So this is a short video on my other characters in Pillars of the Community. I play both the maid and Netta Holt, when I am not playing Dina, and I felt like I wanted to make them both fully fledged characters with backstory and lives, and so that when I went on stage with these characters, I knew who I was and I knew where I had come to get to this point, which is like similar to what naturalism preaches. Like, it says that it's about like your hereditary and social surroundings and how that would affect you and your motivations and your given circumstance. And I thought, you know what, these things should also apply to characters that are in it for about a scene and then go, because they exist. So I thought, in Netta's head, Netta is the main character of Netta's story. And so I decided to give her a little bit of personality, although she isn't in it for very long. Now, Netta is described as meek, which is very gentle and ladylike. So I felt that Netta was raised like very, very proper by Mrs. Holt, and so she's kind of shown off as this example to Dina, and I felt like she would always be like poised, but like very like trying to show off that she's poised. Like, I felt like one of her main objectives would be to make her mum proud and to be like, I have become this perfect woman that you want me to be. So I'd always make Netta, like, I'd make Dina a bit more looser kind of than Netta. Netta was very much like stick up her bum, complete like golden thread going through her head, all of that. And I felt like she was firmly a part of this bourgeois society. Like, she's grown up in it and she sees nothing wrong with it. And so I've made her very materialistic. The things that she cares about are her dresses, her skirts, embroidery. She's like a mini version of her mum. She already enjoys this gossiping. She's always like with Mrs. Lynch, like, oh, I like your embroidery today. Like, oh, like that is what her sole focus in her life is. Like, she wants to be the best at these things. And because of this, I reckon she would hate Olaf. So like when Olaf is there, she's like, oh, like when he's playing with his arrows, she's getting frustrated. She's like, because he's ruining something that she wants to do. She wants to be good at it. So she's frustrated by someone that's playing and being stupid, when she's like, no, this is serious. This is what we have to do. This is our duty. This is our duty as women. So she is very strict, I feel, and a bit of a fun sponge. But I did think it was quite a funny little dynamic that me and Declan had when we would play Netta and Olaf, because it would literally be, oh, Olaf, stop it! Oh, stop it! You're standing on my dress and you're really annoying me. And it's more instead of like being like, yes, it's more like really spoilt child. Like, I want all these things, and this is a really nice dress that my mum has given me, so you can't trouble over it, Olaf. Seriously, you do not know anything. Oh, and so I've taken inspiration from Veruca Salt, and because she's like the epitome of spoil, and I just think that is what I see Netta as. And yeah, and so that's what I did with her. One of my favourite reactions that I do as Netta, because I do believe she just loves clothes and money and materialistic things. Like, I reckon every time, like, they'd be like, she's probably out every day trying to scout for a suitable husband to make her mother proud. And so like when Lona comes in, she goes, all these beautiful dresses. I reckon in her head she's like, yeah, they are beautiful, aren't they? Yes, oh, I love my dress. And then she's like, they have wounds, and like Netta probably has never been spoken to like that before, and so she's like, what? And she's like, I just do like a little this reenact her face. She's like, just really, really silly. But I thought I'd add in those little things because I wanted to make her seem real. As well as this, I have just a smidge of personality to the maid. I decided that the maid would be, well, we know the maid is called Katrine. It says that in the text, so that's her name, Katrine the maid. And she only comes in Act 4, and I worked with the techies to be incorporated within the scene change. She comes in with her flowers. She's getting ready for the surprise party for Carsten Bernick, which she's like being led by Rummel. Rummel's the one that started this, so she's working a lot with Rummel in this scene. And well, Rummel kind of is like flirting with her, and I've kind of put it so like, because I feel like as a maid you kind of have to like, because you're working for these people and they're so above you and you're so in this lower class, you can't speak back. She's like, yeah, and then as soon as she walks off, she's like, what? This was like one of Davy's suggestions, because we were doing the scene and lesson with him, and he said that he thought it'd be funny if the maid, like, when he was speaking, she'd go, and then goes back to her thing, and he's looking away, and she goes, and then looks back, and then goes, and then when she takes the flowers to leave, she's like, what? Like, it's like, what? Why does this man care so much about these flowers? And I thought it was quite funny. I thought it also added to something which I read about Henrik Ibsen originally saying that he felt that Pillars was a comedy, and I thought, yeah, let's add these little comedy aspects in. That's good. And because of this, when I give out the silver services and the goblets and the book of sermons with Roland, I kind of like this little thing, like when Carsten gets his, I'm like, oh yeah, well done, Carsten, like, oh yeah. And then when Ridden gets his, I do a little clap under the thing as well. But when Rummel gets his, I'm like, because I feel like there's this, I feel like I'm only being nice to Rummel when I'm in front of him to get on with my job easier, whereas when like he can't see, I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I have to deal with this guy again. And like when he gets his goblet, she's kind of like, this guy does not really deserve this goblet. He's a bit of a cheek, and she don't really like him. And that was my interpretation of my maid character.